Thank you for joining me. Today is the first time I've tried to do a video in order to communicate some information that otherwise I might write down or post to the blog. I'm going to attach this to the blog post so you'll be able to kind of follow along with some of the things that we're talking about today. All right, so let's begin. Every year since I became a little saint at the school that I work at, we've been gifted with a writing assignment from our principal in our welcome back letters. This year was no exception. This time, she asked us to write an educationally angled bio to talk about our educational journeys, our future aspirations. Our goal is to post these on in our hallways along with our college pennants in order to inspire conversations about career and college aspirations. So to help with this endeavor, I was hoping to host a workshop sometime in the coming week, like I did my first days as part of this team. At that time, we wrote a collective poem and built our community around George Ella Lyon's Where I'm From poem. Many of you might be familiar with it. If not, the link to the original poem is here in the blog post. However, this year, our deadline is the first day back. So without the benefit of time to host a workshop like that, I thought, why not go digital with my support and hope that those who have written theirs might chime in the comments and offer support to those who might wait to the last minute or not be sure how to get started. So you'll see here in the blog that I've started with a Where I'm From style bio. It's a little bit longer than maybe I wanted it to be, but I'm sure it'll fit on a poster, I guess. Maybe we might have to make the print super small, but it should fit. And if this is something that you're interested in trying or want to just give it a go and maybe even use it with your students in the next couple of weeks, there's a couple of ways I usually get started with a Where I'm From poem. I always start by reading the original poem. Like I said, that's posted here in the blog. I also read previous versions of the poem that I've written or that I've written with colleagues. And I've posted a link to a couple of other mentors that you might find helpful as well. One of them I wrote with a group of teachers a couple of years back when I hosted a Teacher as Writer class for our district. And what we started out with were 6 posters. And on each of these posters, we put things like things that people have said to us, memory moments, food, objects, people, places. We could choose any categories that are really meaningful to us as a group, but those are the 6 that seem to ground us in some really amazing work, really deep, beautiful language, really rich experiences that help to bring our educational stories to life. So in this case, I didn't start with posters, as you'll see in the blog post that you might have clicked on earlier. Instead, I started with 6 boxes in my writer's notebook, and I labeled each of those with those 6 categories that you see there. And I started with just a 5-minute timer and some brainstorming. I thought about what it was like. What do I remember from high school? What do I remember from my first 4 years at college? And what do I remember from getting my master's degree? I thought about some of the experiences that I had even as a young child. My educational journey was a little bit different than most. So I started by just brainstorming those. So if this is a place you might want to start, I recommend doing that in giving yourself some categories or some boxes or buckets to fill. In order to get that language on the page. After that, I started to go back and piece parts together. I like to put words that maybe have an alliterative quality where they start with the same first letter, or words that maybe create a great contrast, or those that maybe flow together in a particular way, or that capture the experience in a way that is really meaningful to me. And I start just kind of plugging them in. When I've done this with teachers and even with students, we do these on sticky notes so that we can move the sticky notes around within the poem. Of course, if this isn't your style, you'll see also in the blog that I've got a narrative version of the exact same kind of story. And in this case, it's 4 paragraphs long. And it starts very much in the same way. I actually use the exact same boxes to craft this one. I actually wrote this one first. I wrote the narrative first and then transposed it into a poem for the benefit of this work that we might do together. And in order to write this narrative, I actually, on the plane ride back from my summer vacation, started searching for teacher bios author bios that I could read. I needed some mentors. What would these sound like? What kinds of things would we include in them? Because this isn't just a bio that I might send home to families on the first day of school. This is a bio that introduces me to you. It introduces me to my colleagues. It introduces me and grounds me in this place. So it almost captures who I am at this moment in time, and I wanted it to be something special. So it was interesting to see some of the cool things that people were doing out there. For instance, one of the ones that you see in all three versions of my bio here is what was happening the year I began teaching. You could also do the year that you graduated, the year that you moved places, the year that something pivotal happened in your life. But I found it fascinating that I started teaching the same year that Finding Nemo came out. I started teaching the same year that Apple launched iTunes. I'm not sure how that necessarily makes me feel young or old, but it definitely positions me in a certain generation within our profession. I also noticed some people talked about ways that they had identified themselves or things that they're known for. One particular bio I read talked about a person's size. Although she's only 4'11", that doesn't stop her from kind of taking on the world. I thought it was also interesting. Some people would write a funny anecdote or a surprising fact about something that happened. You'll see in my bio, my poem above, I wrote about how I got an F on a midterm, very uncharacteristic of me, but definitely something memorable that I share with kids all the time. The other thing I noticed that most bios have is that they are written in the third person. They're written about you as if you are another person. And I find that when I wrote mine for my blog, that actually was easier. It was easier to write about myself in a way that didn't seem like I was bragging or speaking too highly of myself. So I've included some links to some of those examples that really helped me to craft this narrative version of my bio a little bit differently and helped me to plug in some really fun anecdotes that made my bio a little bit more interesting to read. The other thing I noticed when I was reading other people's biographies, however, was that most of them are much shorter than mine. I started out by saying the poem was a little longer than I wanted, that I might have to minimize it to fit it on the poster, and I'm not actually really sure what's expected. So I went ahead and kind of pared mine down to its bare bones and crafted it in a way that I had seen online. I included a purple box. Many of the ones that caught my eye were kind of featured this way with a picture on the side. And so I tried to replicate that as well and really did get mine down to a lengthy, but a paragraph nonetheless. One of the things I noticed about this one, though, is that some of those fun things that I had included, the F on my midterm, the title of my honors thesis in college, some of those other things that I had included just to kind of personalize the story, I actually had to strip away. And so I'm not sure that this one's my favorite, but I'll kind of let you guys decide. For this one, I really simply took the narrative version that I had written above, the 4 paragraphs, and started chopping away, started deleting things, and started just getting to the heart of my educational journey. Like I said, I'm not really sure which of these kind of fits with the expectations. So I'll give you guys a chance to kind of read them over, use them as mentors and help if it works for you. Comment to offer other insights or inspirations to our colleagues down below in the comments on the blog, and let me know what you think. I look forward to working with all of you here in this virtual world as well as at school here in the next couple of days. So until then, see you later.